Welcome to the Flag Bearer channel. This is Little Known Black History Facts. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. The Untold Story: Black Soldiers Who Built the Alaska Highway. During World War II, after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, the United States realized it needed a secure way to transport troops and supplies to Alaska in case of a Japanese invasion. This urgency led to the building of the Alaska Highway, also called the Alcan Highway, stretching over 1,700 miles from Dawson Creek, British Columbia, through the Yukon to Delta Junction, Alaska. It is a major transportation route and a popular tourist attraction. But the legacy of the black soldiers who helped build it has long been overlooked. In the spring of 1942, some 5,000 black soldiers in 4 segregated regiments were sent to Alaska and Canada's Northwest Territories to join several thousand other American troops working on 2 of the biggest construction projects of World War II. The Alaska Highway is one of the most legendary routes in North America that connects Alaska with the lower 48 states, passing through the Yukon and British Columbia along the way. It was completed in 1943 with bulldozers, shovels, and manual labor. At the time, the U.S. Army was still segregated. Many white officers doubted the black soldiers' abilities, often relegating them to support roles like cooking or maintenance. But because of the manpower shortage and the scale of the project, black soldiers were given direct responsibility for building huge sections of the highway under some of the most brutal conditions imaginable. The race against time began, deep in the frozen wilderness of Alaska and Canada. The mission: to build a lifeline across the north before enemy forces could strike. Hidden beneath the snow and mud is a story of courage, endurance, and injustice that America almost forgot. Nearly 1/3 of the men sent to build the Alaska Highway were African American soldiers, members of the 93rd, 95th, and 97th Engineer Regiments. In an army that still segregated black troops, these men were given the toughest jobs, the harshest conditions, and the worst equipment. Armed with little more than axes, shovels, and sheer determination, they battled blizzards, permafrost, raging rivers, and endless swamps. In temperatures that dropped to 40 degrees below zero, they worked night and day, clearing forests, building bridges, and laying roads across 1,700 miles of rugged land. There was often harsh weather, sub-zero temperatures, snow, mud, and swarms of mosquitoes in the summer. They were often isolated in remote wilderness with very few resources. They were given inferior equipment. Black regiments often received outdated or broken machinery and tools. They faced systemic discrimination from within the army and from some civilians along the way. Despite all that, the black regiments performed heroically. They built hundreds of miles of road, cleared dense forests, bridged rivers, and overcame rugged terrain, often working faster and more efficiently than some of the white regiments. The 93rd Engineers cut their way from Dawson Creek into the wilderness. The 95th struggled through the treacherous Yukon, and the 97th, often the most isolated, carved a path through Alaska itself. They weren't expected to accomplish much, but showed them and built that highway with their hands, axes, and will. When swamps swallowed their vehicles, they invented corduroy roads, laying down logs by hand to build stability in the mud. They didn't just survive, they innovated. In just 8 months, against all odds, the Alaska Highway was complete. It stood as a marvel of engineering and a vital military route. Yet, when the war ended, the black soldiers who helped build it were written out of the story. It would take decades for their contributions to be recognized. Their story is one of grit, pride, and unbreakable spirit, a road not just built through the wilderness, but carved into history. Only in recent years have their stories started to receive the recognition they deserve, not just as laborers, but as skilled engineers and pioneers who broke racial barriers in both military and construction history. The Alaska Highway still stands, and so does the legacy of the men who built it, against prejudice, against nature, against the odds. They didn't just build a road, they built a piece of history. Following the war, the road was opened to civilian use and later was paved. In light of their impressive performance, many of the black soldiers who worked on the Alcan were subsequently decorated and sometimes deployed in combat. The U.S. Army eventually became the first government agency to integrate in 1948, a move that is largely credited in part to the laudable work of the soldiers who built the Alcan. In 2017, the state of Alaska formally acknowledged their contribution. Until next time, if you like and enjoy little-known history facts as I do, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell to be notified of future uploads. Thank you for watching.